Today I'm talking to Kelly from the Kintners. He's a Texas-based songwriter, indie folk and American songwriter. He will drag you and take you on a journey. It's a raw and powerful sound that makes you stand up and listen. To me, Kelly's a real songwriter. It's a real storyteller of music. So how you been today? How's your pandemic been?
It's actually been quite productive. And today we just released a single this morning called Gray Matters. Just came out this morning. So we're all hopped up on goofballs about that. It's a good song. You know, it's got a full sound. It's real Tom Petty and Jeff Lynne influenced as far as the sound goes. And it's written about divorce. So a lot of people can relate to it, especially nowadays. So we're real excited about the reception and everything.
Well, that's the thing I like about your songs. There's a real connection to life. That's the bit I love the most. You have that raw guitar sound, but you have that connection to life. I have heard Great Matter. You actually sent it to me, and thank you for that. So,
you're welcome.
I will ask you now, what is your sort of? We'll talk about musical influence first. What is your sort of musical influences? What would you say?
Boy. Well, for the past 5 years, I've been really intensely looking at singer-songwriters. Chris Christopherson has been a huge influence for the past 5 years or so. I just really relate to his overall charisma. I've been listening to a lot of Al Cooper. I've got all of his records on vinyl. I've just been loving his style and the way he layers songs. He'll start out small and build one layer at a time. So I've been listening to the way he arranges a song. Even when he played organ on Dylan's Like a Rolling Stone, the organ is the driving force in that song, and that's Al Cooper on that organ. And when Dylan heard it, he said, that's that song. So Al Cooper has that ear that I like for this album that I'm using as reference tracks for the album.
What did you grow up on though? What was the thing you grew up on? Yeah, I know it's a hard question.
Hard rock and gospel. So I sang gospel with my mother to try to learn harmonies with her. And then I rebelled against the gospel. Sorry. I didn't realize my head was out of the picture.
You're cool, don't worry.
And then I would rebel against the gospel once the grandparents came into town and say I was a hard rocker. So I ended up seeing the Masters 5 gospel band and Motley Crue Dr. Feelgood within the same period of like 2 weeks.
That's cool.
I was just all over the place. I never really liked country on the radio, which is weird because I'm associated with a lot of country acts. But I always loved old country records like George and Tammy, Loretta Lynn, Johnny Cash. In fact, just right here, I have Johnny Cash.
That's the big one for me. That's the one that hit me. I'll tell you a quick story about Johnny Cash. My mum told me for 2 years, listen to Johnny Cash. I said, oh, it's not going to be my type of music. She said, you'll love it. He died. And then I decided to listen. I ended up with 27 albums of Johnny Cash. I was like, this guy is amazing. Just the way, some of the subjects he was sing about. Like, obviously, the first one is, my first one I loved was Big River. But A Boy Named Sue, that's what hit me. Was like, oh my God, this is fantastic. And then you had the Folks in Prison album. That was the one that got me.
Yeah. Hello, my name is Johnny Cash. Got me with Tim Hardin's writing of If I Were a Carpenter. I love that song. The Kintners might cover that song someday.
It's fantastic, the sort of attitude, because I love the bit in the album. He's just sort of, someone give me some water. Give me some water.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you sure this didn't come off someone's boot or something?
Yeah, because I know he done two, didn't he? Done the San Quentin one as well, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
I used to love him, and I know I got actually, I think it was a DVD done one as well. Because there's a DVD I got of him. He's at a town hall. It's an old one. It's black and white. He's taking the mick out of Elvis. I think it's brilliant. Yeah, I think when you talk about country and then you talk about old country, I think I'm in a similar vein to you. It's just I like that old. For me, old country, like I got into even Chad Atkins and all them and tried to understand them. And
Chet Atkins, Bob Wills, who Chet Atkins played with sometimes. Yeah, all those old guys I love. But I tell you what, I'll boil it down for you. I really love the guys that the new guys say they are listening to, but you can't tell that they're listening to by the music that they're making.
Okay,
you know, like a lot of times in new country music, you'll hear Hank Williams brought up. But in the song that Hank Williams has brought up, it doesn't sound like anything like Hank Williams. I listen to Hank Williams. So if I bring up Hank Williams in a song, I try to do my best to put some kind of homage to Hank in it.
That's a good thing.
You know, but I just can't tell that these people are listening in the new country music. I just can't tell that they're listening to who they say they're listening to.
Well, I think with new country, they've took the sound and it wasn't about the sound. I mean, I felt when I was living in America, it was the twang, the sound, and I thought, why? But I listened to some older stuff, and it was the lyrics, the playing, even some of the fiddle players, and the sound as a whole was just fantastic. And that's the thing I enjoyed the most. And some of the lyrics were very, would you say, I can't say the word. They were very like on tough subjects. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And that was the thing I liked a lot, you know. There's the other one I also, because of Dylan, I looked at Woody Guthrie as well, which is comes under folk country as well. But really,
I've been to his museum in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's fantastic. You know, as far as lyrical content, I always try to write about something serious. Even my funny song, I have a funny song on Bandcamp that's free. Bandcamp, thekintnersmusic.com. Um, it's free. It's about getting crabs. I tried to make fun of the situation, you know. I mean, that's the funniest song I got. You know, I try to bring an element of something you can relate to. I don't, you know, even Gray Matters is kind of a bubblegum sounding song, but if you listen to the lyrics to it, I'm talking about my divorce of 10 years, you know. You know, and if you think about every other song I'm writing, my wife's very first lyrics were about her loving someone suffering from addiction. You know, so we're trying to communicate with these songs on a level of seriousness. You know, even when we're trying to be cute or funny, we want words that relate. You know, we're very conscious of making words that relate and that just don't fly over your head or bounce off of you. We are really trying to make an effort to communicate how we feel.
Well, that's a thing of a good songwriter. You know, you want to bring your audience in and make them feel something. You definitely do that, though. I've said that to you before. Like I said to you before we started this, you know, you are a real songwriter. You can feel it. I am going to talk about some of your songs. One of them I wanted to ask you is about Smoke and Mud, because the first time I listened to this, Smoke and Mud, it just blew me away. It was like a deep lyrics, your vocals, stripped back raw guitar. It just set a sound for a scene. It's like, for me, because I'll ask you and you'll probably tell me it's different. It was like down on the river, campfire, and the violin was like a gliding sound across the water. But I love the lyric line, straight away hits you, is my hands are cut and caked in blood. And it's just from there you think, okay, we're on something here. It's going to be brilliant. So, yeah.
Thanks very much. You know, Smoke and Mud is a song of my soul. Thanks very much for liking that. You know, the Smoke and Mud, I woke up with that tune in my head at like 3 or 4 in the morning, man. And I just didn't get on Twitter or nothing. And I just sat down to write it. And my wife was like, okay, you're just going to write this song today. And then I asked her about all the biblical references, because one verse is about David, one verse is about Jesus, one verse is about Paul. And so every verse is like kind of a first person perspective from a biblical reference, just a real gritty kind of feel to it. And then the harmony part just came out of nowhere. And that's kind of what, for me, when I imagine that song, I can't imagine it without those two voices now. You know, it just doesn't sound the same unless there's those two voices instead of just one. And it's just a very special song to me, and it feels really good when people like it. So thank you very much.
It just feels like, to me, like I said, I wrote down here, it's like hardship, like a working man, the challenges of life. That's what it felt to me. But like, I know you were saying about the smoke on the river, and I'm like, is this someone who's just gone down to the river to just like wash away his sins, or just and you are right, the references about religion is fantastic. I didn't know they were actually different verses. That's like you said, what did you say, Matthew, Luke, or I know you
see the last verse, Jesus drinks the bitter cup. The first verse, Paul is blinded, and the second verse, David is the conqueror.
Brilliant.
So each verse is like a first person perspective from the most famous people in the Bible. And my wife used to do missionary work, so she's actually the one who helped me put together those verses with key words that are associated with those characters. or characters or people or whatever your belief is. I don't know. But anyways, that song came together. I woke up at 4. It was written by noon. I had it on the internet by 4 p.m. that day.
Brilliant. That's the magic of songwriting. Some days they just drop. I've said this in another interview. When I'd done one of my songs for Kaleidoscope Mind, I'd done 2 songs that day. I was pushing it, and I went to lay down, and it would not let me lay down. When you have moments like that, you're just there to catch it, and you catched it brilliantly. I didn't know your wife was helping you. I know. Does she write too?
She writes lyrics. She edits me because I have a tendency to be verbose. So she'll look at my lyrics and be like, nah.
That's good. I think you sent me a song. You sent me a song a couple of weeks ago with your wife singing. I said, "Hey Kelly, this is a power couple. You two you've got something great. That's good. There's a good chemistry there and working. That's brilliant."
We've been working hard at it. I think it's playing live together just around an acoustic to sync up. That really helps you when you go to recording, that helps you sound like pleasant or whatever. It helps me like it anyway,
I think that's one thing. I think when you play live, it's with acoustic, I feel better, but when you actually record, I find it harder because you have to record and then sing. And people don't know is when you actually when you're a songwriter, you're just playing and you're making it up. It feels kind of this energy of saying, "Oh, this is kind of nice." Yeah. Now write the lyrics down and sing it separately. You think, "Oh, I can't remember what it is." Sometimes that feeling of just playing like in a group or something like, or just with your partner, yeah, it's great because you could just have fun, and that's when the good stuff comes. But when you have to break it all down, that's a bit I don't like.
When you're doing those fun parts, that's when you turn your phone on record.
Oh yeah,
and that way you have it.
I do that. Trust me, my iPhone's chopped. I think I've got like lyrics and recording. You probably the same, just tons of them. I sit here in moments and press record and oh, what's that? Oh, and then funny enough, someone's heard one of them before and they say, "You're talking to yourself." I said, "Yeah, I've got to tell myself what chords I'm playing," so I forget them.
I was a trucker for 12 years. And when every time I got a new phone, as I lived in my cell phone when I was a trucker, it would transfer like 1,000 voice messages from one phone to another. Cause I'd be driving down the road, I'd be like, pot of shit at the end of the rainbow, click. Just what just anything that came to mind, or I don't know if I could say that on your interview. You might have to edit that out.
No, we're on at 9, so we should be fine. So because the other thing, actually, when you just say that, I would like to ask you, so you was a truck driver, so is some of your inspiration being on the road? Like you must see things.
Absolutely. I would not be an Americana artist if I had not seen 48 States of America.
Wow. I ain't got that far. I think I'm on 16.
Absolutely. I mean, I've seen so many diners, truck stops, talked to people from every state, heard so many accents, seen so many houses and small towns. And I mean, eaten so many different foods and, I speak Spanish, and
that's cool.
Just I'm immersed in this whole American thing, whatever it is.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of Dylan, really, didn't he? Like he traveled around a lot, didn't he? You've done it in a truck. You've done it in a truck.
I did it in a truck. I wasn't on tour per se. I was just driving around goods. But yeah, absolutely. It had a huge impact. I still have spirals that I was writing lyrics, while I was on the truck, so. But yeah, absolutely.
I actually had a thing when I was in Wales. I used to live in Wales. I used to do open cast. I used to be a truck driver. Was it 100-tonner, 1,000-tonner, something like one of these big ones. And one thing I used to do to become a better songwriter, I used to listen to the radio, and then I used to write poems, but in the form of songs. And I'd just pick a subject and I'd use the melody. Like one of them I never forget. I love Humble Pie. Humble Pie is bigger in America, not in England. And there's a song called Roadhog. And I wrote a song to the melody of Roadhog. And that was something I used to do. And it fascinates me when you say that you was on the road, because you could be listening to anything, or you could just be in your own mind and writing stuff, what you see. And I think that's fantastic, because it gives you more. It's going to give you more for your songwriting.
That too. And I was also taking iTunes University courses in creative writing and that sort of thing. I took one about the fall of the Roman Empire and all that stuff, all in an effort to try to be, better somehow, I guess. I don't know. I was bored. All of it, I think, is helping me now, even though I didn't realize at the time what maybe I was doing. But now I find myself conjuring a lot of those 12 years when I'm looking for lyrics. So
that's really cool. No, it all helps, Kelly, because for me, I've done that with poetry, because I heard Bob Dylan say it's a mathematical game in his San Francisco interview. So I found the Beatles were doing Lucy in the Sky in Diamonds is with Dactyls, and then I just jumped into poetry, just wouldn't stop. And like you said, you're done Roman, I've probably done Egyptian. You just keep learning, because you just think, let's try things, see what happens. And then you reap the rewards later down the line when days when you don't even realise. I love this conversation. It's interesting, because sometimes you think, as yourself, did I do that for nothing? Was I mad? And then you meet other musicians like you, and I've met other musicians who say the same. I was just learning and trying, and it all comes together in the end, and it's like a connection. And you hear it in the music. That's why I say to people, when you meet a real songwriter, they move you, or they touch you, or their music's just something. It's just amazing. But on that, I'm going to move on to the next one. You ready?
Okay.
Because it's This Ticket. And I just, why my love was in California. I was just waiting for the train. I thought, is this a metaphor for love, the journey? I was a bit, I don't know if it was something painful or something you were happy about. I thought it's a fantastic song. But was it like you got out of something, or?
It's longing, like in This Ticket, you're looking at a character who's leaving or running away, or maybe missing something, but they're definitely a passenger.
Correct.
And so, and they're probably going somewhere, in my mind anyway, they're probably going somewhere or leaving somewhere behind for good. And this is just general concepts that might be running through their mind, going in and out of memories and tactile of what they're seeing, smelling, and tasting as they're riding on the train. So they're looking out the window. They're thinking about what they're leaving, but they're also being annoyed by all these people around them riding with them on the train. That's basically the whole
Brilliant
song to me.
There's a line in there, I've got to say, it is, young lovers, they all look like plastic, annoying and emphatic. Is it emphatic? Enthusiastic, making out in the back of a car, smiling like candy in satellite traffic. I thought, wow. I just put, just brilliant. You know, I think when you hear lines like that, you know, and like I said, you've got the guitar, the piano, you've got the drums, and your wife's doing, is your wife doing backing vocals?
Mm-hmm.
And it just, I said it's just cemented the whole sound that catches the emotion. And because that was the thing I wanted to ask, is it like someone that was relieved that he got out of a relationship, or was he, and you said it really.
Now that line comes from the sheer frustration of being older and seeing young couples and just being like, you're so gross. Stop sucking face, you know? That's all that meant to me. But I get a lot of comments. Well, and they also wear all these perfumes and stuff, and they have bells and whistles that makes all kinds of noises, and watches, and there's just no peace around certain people, and it always seems like they're in public and they're young, and I'm an old guy, or I feel older now.
You're not that old. Come on,
I'm not that old.
I think you're the same age. I'm 44.
I'm 44.
I go 45 a couple of weeks. I do. So we're really around the same age. I know what you mean.
But maybe it's because I'm at an age. I feel old because I'm at an age where most of my kids are grown. But there's just something super snazzy, kind of noisy, and smell good about a lot of folks in public, and sometimes it's assaulting, and that's.
Well, I know what you feel. I know what you mean. It's I think it's that thing where maybe it's that generation thing where when you were younger, there was probably people your age like, look at him.
Absolutely. And I'm not saying I'm not tolerant to it. And I'm not saying it even annoys me all the time. I'm just saying if I'm in a train leaving a lover and I see a couple making out in the back of the train I'm on, it's liable to annoy me at that specific point in time.
See, that's the songwriter. You're catching the moments. That's what I love. Catching the detail. That's the best thing is whenever you write a song. So like you're saying your song is about leaving or a situation, but that is annoying you because it's part of the song. As a person.
Absolutely. If I'm in a bad mood, that's going to bother me. You know? I mean, that's just going to, I don't feel like that if I'm in a bad mood, or if me and Carrie are fighting or something, which we never fight, by the way. But if I'm in a bad mood, that's going to annoy me. That's why that line's in there.
I think it's brilliant. I'll tell you. It is. I'm being honest with you. Like I said,
I really appreciate that.
No, because
I love performing that song. I love performing that song.
Oh, I play it on the morning show all the time. There's a couple of your songs I play. I do a slot from 8 to 9, Monday to Friday, and I play you about 3 times a week. I play Ticket a few times. Yeah, it's just you have your own sound. I don't know if you realise that. It's fascinating. Like you said, it's a bit what do you call it? Ripped back. It's like rawness, but the lyrics are just. It all just like connects together. It's something I really enjoy because we're going to go on to the next one.
Okay.
And I thought this one was another one. It's a fantastic song, 2 weeks. And your daddy says
2 weeks.
Yeah, your daddy says no. He's left no doubts, but but we've got 2 weeks in the Philippines to figure it out. I thought this was just. I put in here the storytelling is at a high volume. It's like it was kind of like, okay, everybody in their life has probably experienced a moment like that where they found someone they like. It's gone. It sounded in the song like it's gone wrong, and you still want to go out of them. And the parents have said no or something, and you're thinking, what should I do?
I've always wanted to tell the story of this song.
I think it's brilliant.
So this song was a bet. A friend of mine and I were having some beers. A fellow truck driver and I were having some beers back when I used to have beers. And he bet me I couldn't write a story about his experience where he had a online girlfriend of 2 years from the Philippines. He flew down there to try to marry her, only to meet her dad at the airport. He said, heck no. He never met the girl, but he had 2 weeks booked at the hotel. So he just spent it in the hotel bar getting to know the bartender. And he went back to his job truck driving like nothing ever happened.
See, now you reference in the song a guy from Oklahoma has the grade. And I thought, is this something that's happened in America? And then he's just gone on 2 weeks. So
my friend was from Oklahoma.
Ah, smart. Now I've got it all. It's a connect. It's
and
about.
So it's literally a description of his experience that he told me while we were having beers that I put to a song just to try to win a bet.
You obviously won then. No, because I think there's a bit, I can't actually, I'm terrible at pronounce because I'm dyslexic. It says waiting in, is it Natata or something? Is that the place in the Philippines? Narita, sorry. And
yeah,
go
ahead.
I pulled out the picture and I swore I wouldn't get that way. And I thought, this is fantastic.
Yeah, I made that up.
Brilliant.
I just heard that Narita in Japan, Narita is, I had to look it up. Narita is the layover that you go to from Boston to get to the Philippines.
Smart.
So I just made the verse a layover verse.
So that makes it even deeper. So he's actually gone from Boston, got to Narita, pulled the photo out. He's still ain't in the Philippines and he's still going there. It creates a new picture for me. It's like, wow. I thought this was a place in the Philippines when you put it. I thought, I've never heard of that. But now it makes sense.
It's a big airport in Japan.
Kelly, yeah. It's clever you are. You. Oh, I like some of the song, the way you sing it, I think it was a relationship in America that is someone that split up. And now the way you explain it, it's actually making me a bigger sense that, okay, so this guy, it was an online relationship, went out to the Philippines to meet them, and all these connections. See, this is the thing I love about songwriting. When I listen to it, I hear something. When someone else listens to it, someone else listens to it. Now, the truth is, when Kelly tells you, it's just a bet. Brilliant. I love it. That's why you're a good songwriter. That's what a good songwriter can do. You've put a picture in my head, and I got fooled because I'm trying to figure it out, but it's amazing.
Well, you're awfully generous.
There's an art to it, Kelly. If you can do that sort of thing and bring someone into a story, then you've got something. And I know that when you meet good songwriters, they all do it. They can bring a person in. You know, like I'm sitting in now thinking, wow, I'd have to listen to that again now because I want to. It's great when you get the insight. This is the same thing when I interviewed D.G. Adams. He was telling me things. I was like, oh, I didn't think it was about that. That's the art of songwriting.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You're into that. I wish more people were like you.
Well, it's like Jeff's like that sometimes. Me and him have chats over things.
Oh, I love Jeff.
Jeff's great. Me and him talk about stuff, but sometimes he talks about theory, and I'm still learning some of it. Because I'm dyslexic, it's took me a lot of time to understand theory. I have to take things in small chunks. My biggest thing was feeling. I would jam with everybody I could jam with just to feel what it was like and the blues. But yeah, Jeff knows I'm going to modulate this part, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm trying to get it. He's great, Jeff, though. He's brilliant. Anyway, let's move on because I've got another one because I want to talk to you about
another one.
Yeah, I've got more. 15 years. Now, I wrote this a bit on this saying someone's got caught up with the sheriff after the last source. This is a lyric line. Now we're breaking rocks and writing home. But I have actually read on Twitter, you actually talked to people about their experience before you wrote this.
Yeah, I have a friend who did 7 years in prison.
Okay.
So I always want to try to sound authentic. So I thought the best way, I was approached to write this song for a movie about the Texas prison system. So I wanted to do a good job. So I talked to my friend who did 7 years, 6 or 7 years. I can't remember. And I had some pointed questions for him. Like maybe, I'll tell you an example. A new day's just a number. He said days felt like numbers. Okay. So I kind of was able to glean things from the interview to help this character sound authentic.
Like an
and then the break and locks. Mm-hmm.
Like an inside
And then the
view.
break and locks, that's right, an inside view. And then the break and rocks and writing letters home thing was just a scene, just me imagining Cool Hand Luke, where they're just breaking rocks and always gathering around the mail and writing letters home. You know, I can eat 50 eggs, and you know that's where that comes from. You know, I don't know what they're doing on the side of the railroad all the time with those pickaxes. You know, it looks like they're just breaking rocks, you know. So that's where that line comes from. I don't, but there are certain phrases in that song that I got from talking to him who had actually been inside prison. Now, he was in a New York prison, and this was about a Texas prison, so I tried not to get too specific because apparently they're a lot nicer in New York. But whatever. That doesn't make any difference, I guess, in the long run.
I don't think it matters what prison. You're all going to be roughly the same. But I like how you're also your thinking, because you're trying to find the more deeper meanings inside these songs by creating them, by asking questions. That's like a good researcher. I mean, sometimes when I write about a topic, I will tell you I just write off my head. But some days, if you want to write something good, you have to do research. And to get an interview with someone who's been inside, then you're getting a lot of stuff we don't know, like your certain words or phrases or things that they could say that happened. It all adds to the songwriting.
It was important for me to get the mood and the words right. And the music was real easy. You know, it's just basically every song on Folsom Prison. That was easy. So all I had to do was start off in A minor and keep the going, and just pretend like I had the drummer on Folsom Prison behind me, doing the ticket.
You do the Johnny Cash trick, did you, with the $10?
Oh, in the saddle.
No, when I went to Sun Studios, they said to me, you know, when he done, I think it is Keep That Train Running. Is
Train
it down
kept the rope.
Is it Down the Line or Walk the Line? He said they didn't have a drummer, so he put $10 in his guitar and he started playing with it and making that shuffling noise.
Yeah,
that's what he did. A guy shows you in at Sun Studios. He's like, "Yeah, I'll show you." And we were like, "Oh my god!" And then Elvis stood over there, and I was like, "Tell me more about Johnny Cash."
And then Elvis played Johnny Cash's piano. Yeah.
Well, there's a famous photo of the four, aren't there? Johnny Cash, Elvis, is it Roy Orbison and Carl Perkins? And it was a $1 million quartet. That's what they called them.
Roy Orbison, man.
Yeah, he's another one.
I love me some Roy Orbison.
There's nothing wrong with Roy Orbison.
Nope.
Anyway, I'm going to get on to the next one. Actually, I want to actually ask you some of your process in songwriting. How did you approach it? Did you approach? Is the most famous thing is we're all going to ask, and I know there's many different ways, but what did you prefer, like lyrics or melody first?
I usually come up with a chorus that's lyrics and melody at the same time, and I'll build around that. For example, This Ticket. I had My Loves in California, I'm Just Waiting on a Train, the lyrics and melody, and I just built the song around that. Most songs are like that.
Well, some people approach them differently. Some people, I know, for me, I have to get a verse in lyric. And then one of the things I learned, and we all learn differently, is I watch so many Beatles stuff. It is Paul McCartney says, just pick up the guitar, sing something, and play a chord. And if the chord fits the words, carry on. So
yeah, I'm kind of that way. I don't approach it unless I'm being commissioned, which we have been. Being Frank was a commission. There's been a few other songs. I guess 2 weeks was kind of like a commission. I mean, it was a bet, but I generally don't approach with any specific idea. I just kind of have a melody and a chorus. And then I'll go where that takes me.
That's pretty cool.
So whatever kind of fits with that melody and chorus.
I like to understand other songwriters how they do it, because there are ways that once you sort of know, then you try it and just see if it works. Some things you always got to try new things when you're doing songwriting. But I do like that. Yeah, I think maybe some days the way you say, I've never done it from a chorus, but I usually do it from a verse. So it's a very strange. I try to get about four lines where I get one verse, and then I think, okay, what's the story about? What am I singing about? I don't know, the toilet or something.
Yeah, a lot of times I don't know what I'm singing about till I have a chorus and one verse.
But you've also shown your adaptability, because I'm a subject writer. You could say to me tomorrow, hey, write a song about that, and it's easy for me. But you had a bet, and you've done the same. So I think you don't realise you can do subject. The more when it comes off my head, it's just about playing and then looking and saying, okay, well, now what have I got? I don't know what I got. Now I have to build the song. But sometimes I used to do objection writing, where someone would give you a subject, and I would try to make a song. Like I had ones where, what was it? One I had vultures, and the whole entire song was about a vulture that comes down and is picking at a mouse, but he's waiting for the mouse to be dead. It's just like you try it. Subject writing's fun. And I find it easier because then you know where you're going. When you have them ones that come from nowhere, I just wait. And then when they do, you're just like, okay. So.
Oh, man. Yeah, I had to write. Well, I didn't have to do anything, but I wrote "Being Frank" with my wife. That was a real tough story. That was about a woman who dated a man back in the 80s who died unexpectedly, who after he died, she found out was a con man who she didn't have his real name, and whose sister came to hunt her down after he passed away to try to get to find out more about him better. And then they eventually became friends.
As you write them. Brilliant. Anyway, I'm going to move on, and I want to get a couple more before we finish the interview, because there's one I haven't actually written a review yet, but you can talk. Can you talk us through Grey Matter? You actually said that at the beginning. Oh
yeah, Grey Matters is another one of my songs, like Smoking Mud, where it's kind of my baby. I listen to that song myself. I like how it sounds to me. Early, it's got a real Traveling Wilburys, Tom Petty kind of feel to it. It's the first song in my career that I've been able to make sound that way, and I'm a huge fan.
Of Traveling Wilburys.
Oh yeah, and Tom Petty.
Yeah, Tom Petty's cool. I've seen him live. Brilliant.
Oh yeah, yeah. See, I would love it. I love his whole band. His whole band is just brilliant. And anyways, I love Jeff Lynne's production with ELO. And so it's the first song that I've been able to do with Brady Joe on production, BK Burge at Nassau Bay recording, mastering, Nate Rotto on bass and drums, my wife singing harmony, and Brady Joe even did a little guitar work and some backing vocals too. And then I'm playing whatever else and singing lead. We managed to put this thing together that sounds like this big song, and I just love it.
It's very upbeat. I like the sound. I've only put a little bit. I say it's upbeat. It's something different. Because when I listen to you with them vocals and your guitar, you've got that sense of country, but Grey Matter was a bit more upbeat, wasn't it? Like, maybe
it's more of a rock song or a pop song, I think, maybe. But the lyrics are still right in line with Kintner's material if you listen to the Kintners. But the music is more of an homage to classic rock I grew up listening to, which is really cool. It's real fun. It's real fun. Boy, the reception has just been so overwhelmingly nice. Even Chara Suri, who I admire and who's going to be on the record, by the way, says it's her favorite Kintner song. So that's pretty.
That's cool.
That's real cool.
It's good when you get stuff like that. It's people recognizing you for who you are. Like I said to you before, there's a real set of songwriters and musicians for me, and then there's other people. And it's great when you could talk to them, and you get some recognition, because all you're doing is with your heart. You're just doing what you love, and that's the most important thing. And that's what
I appreciate it, man.
We've got one more to talk about yet, Kelly. We ain't done yet. Then you got to tell us where you get your music from. You sent me Cliffhanger, and I haven't had to listen to it. I have listened to it, but I haven't done a review of it. Do you want to tell us about Cliffhanger?
Wow. Cliffhanger. I
do like the lyric line about driving your truck over and it's brand new or something, wasn't it? Did you say that?
Yeah, that's a brand new song. It's only on SoundCloud.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. I'll have to keep secret. But you can tell us anyway.
Right. You'll have to find us on SoundCloud or listen to us on DJ SLE to hear it.
That's in the works, and that'll be on Bandcamp soon, I guess. Eventually.
It'll be on the album. It's complete.
Hold up. What, the album? You do?
Yeah,
we're doing an album.
Yeah, it'll be on the album. It's a pre-release song on the album on SoundCloud. And we're doing 11 or 12 tracks, new material. We've got 20, 30 people from Twitter participating.
Okay, I know we've talked about that before.
Yeah, it should be out before the end of the year. But Cliffhanger is the first track that's out that you can hear on SoundCloud. That's from the album that has Kev Sharp on keys and Brady Joe on production. Me singing and playing acoustic guitar on this fancy new microphone here.
I think that sounds great when you told me about that. Just tell us about that, because I think that's really interesting. A lot of people would probably like that. I'm one of these ones. This is a chameleon. Oh, the sound booth. Oh, this is a suitcase that my wife made that she lined with acoustic foam tiles. So whenever we go somewhere, we just take out the tiles and then we put everything in it, the iPad and everything we use to record, and we can record anywhere. So they sound great. You know what? When I done my first album, you probably don't know this. There's a thing called a U-lock. We use them for bikes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I used to put my mum's tights over it as a pop sock because I couldn't get a pop sock at the time.
Oh, I've got one of these. If you can see it.
Yeah, I've got one there now. I can afford it. At the time of writing Kaleidoscope 1, I couldn't afford half of the stuff. I had a average mic, and I used a pop sock with it's a bicycle lock. It's called a U.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I like this suitcase. I thought when I first saw it, I thought this is a smart idea.
Yeah, I got to give all the credit to Carrie. She just thought of it. It's been sounding real good. We've been using it for the album.
There you go. So you're going to come out with the album with the end of the year. Do you want to tell people where they can find you? Because you said SoundCloud.
It'll be everywhere.
Is it?
Oh, the album?
No, what's your sites? You got SoundCloud. Is it the Kintners?
I don't know what SoundCloud is. It's a long series of numbers. I'm Kelly Wayne, I think, on there. I'm not sure. I don't know SoundCloud. It's new to me. I just did it. I'll link it on Twitter. I'm at Kelly_Kintner on Twitter. And I'm really good about linking all my stuff. I have a URL with all my music. It's thekintnersmusic.com.
Okay. Because I know you're on Bandcamp. Sorry. Go on.
Yeah, that takes you directly to my Bandcamp. Thekintnersmusic.com is set up to take you directly to my Bandcamp. So you'll find every song there. Also, we have 2 songs on streamers everywhere. One just hit this morning, Gray Matters, and 15 Years is also on streamers everywhere. So, and the album towards the end of the year will be on streamers everywhere too.
Well, I'll be looking forward to that because, like I said, it's really enjoyable to meet you and listen to your music. And I'm very grateful that you've done this interview. Like I said, you rarely get a chance to talk to someone with where their lyrics and the rawness and everything. It's great when you meet a songwriter. Just a conversation, you learn a lot.
I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. This has been super indulging. I really appreciate it. Turns out I like talking about myself.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you. You have a good one.